It's Thursday, May 21st, 2020, coming to you from beautiful Palm Desert, California. It is an absolutely stunning evening. As I make this video, I've got to tell you, I'm horrified with what is happening with this U.S. economy. And I know people will call that doom and gloom, negativity. But let me tell you, I was out today taking care of some business. Look, you cannot hide what is happening to this economy. It is deteriorating so fast. We now, I truly believe, are entering the greatest depression the world has ever seen. Again, more tent cities are popping up all over. Places that I passed last week didn't have a tent city. Today, there's people in tents off the freeways, near the railroad tracks, behind office buildings, behind retailers. Tents are popping up everywhere. I've never seen anything like this. Article today on CNBC. Jobless claims total 2.4 million. Still elevated levels, but a declining pace from previous weeks. We're now being told that it's not that bad. It was only 2.4 million, not 7 million. So it's not bad. It's getting better. 2.4 million more jobless people added to the tally today. And we're being told that it's not that bad because it's a declining pace. It's not 6 or 7 million. It's only 2.4 million. Just think of what 2.4 million people looks like to you not having a job in the U.S. Unbelievable. So now officially, the jobless number, the unemployment number, is now 39 million people. The real number is around 57, 58 million people. And what's really, again, shocking is that the Dow Jones was only down 101 points today. It should have been down thousands of points. Thousands of points. When you lose 2.4 million jobs in a week, 2.4 additional people unemployed, and the Dow Jones is only down 101 points, and people think that this isn't a fake, manipulated market, they're wrong. Another article on CNBC. The Mall of America hasn't paid its mortgage in 2 months. It's the biggest mall in the world. The Mall of America has missed 2 months of payments on its $1.4 billion mortgage. Another sign of how bad retail real estate owners are suffering. Mall of America is owned by the 555 Group. They said that they are concerned about some of the tenants that are not paying rent. They're about to get really concerned. You know, what if some of these tenants don't come back? What if some of the shoppers don't come back? What does Mall of America do? What does the 555 Group do when the owners of these stores close up? When the shoppers don't show up? What's going to happen? It's a bad combination here, and we are going to see a lot of vacant real estate coming to America. The collapse, this is an article on The Hedge today, the collapse will be very visible. For lease and space available signs are going up all across America. Look, I've been doing numerous videos on this going all the way back to last year. The for lease and for sale signs have been popping up over the last 2 years, especially over the last year. Did multiple videos on this. You're all being told that this whole financial collapse was just temporary, that business was going to come right back. It wasn't going to be that bad. This is just a little speed bump. But now it's becoming very clear, very obvious, very evident that a lot of damage that we're seeing is permanent, that a lot of these stores aren't coming back, that a lot of these jobs aren't coming back. We're starting to see businesses go belly up all over the United States of America. Again, I've shot multiple videos, a couple just recently, of the stores closing, the for lease, the for sale signs. Every day I go out, there's another new sign popping up. Some of the most iconic retailers in America are not coming back. This is affecting every state across the United States of America. I read the comments. I see what's going on. It's happening in the small towns. It's happening in the big towns. They are not going to be able to cover up this depression because people see with their own two eyes the for sale signs, the for lease signs. They're not going away. In fact, every day we continue to see more. Ladies and gentlemen, look, I'm telling you, I am very, very concerned with what is happening with this economy. Look, the stock market can go to 80,000 points. I don't really care. Most of you don't really care because it has no effect on you. What does have an effect on us is what's happening to our local economies, what's happening to the overall U.S. economy, what's happening to industry, what's happening to manufacturing. We're not making anything. People are now being paid more money to stay at home than to work. It's really going to have severe consequences to our country. Also, CNBC today. Victoria's Secret's going to be closing 250 stores. Bed Bath & Beyond closing 50 stores. More unemployment coming. More people are not going to have a job. And here's what you need to expect. We're going to see a lot more abandoned buildings all over America. The lease and for sale signs are going to continue to pop up all over America, not just here in California, not just here in Southern California, all over America. Again, I read the comments. And if you want to know what's really happening all over America, I advise that you read the comments down below also, because America is going to tell you what's really happening. Not the person in the $3,000 suit and the $200 tie working for corporate America, working for Wall Street, who's on Fox Business or CNBC. Those people are going to tell you a lie. They're going to tell you all about the illusion. They're going to tell you that things are going to go back to normal, that they're going to be better than ever. I'm here to tell you that they are not. And the people down below in the comments are telling you right now what's coming. Things are not going back to normal because things weren't normal to begin with. We are heading into the greatest depression that America has ever seen. And if you are not prepared right now for it, you are going to be an economic casualty. I feel sorry for you, because you are going to be living in a nightmare. Another article, highly indebted zombie companies control more than 2 million U.S. jobs. This is also on CNBC. And I talked recently about all these companies making no money, going into massive debt. 2 million jobs. These companies are on borrowed time, meaning that these jobs are on borrowed time. Yes, some people are going to return to jobs, but many are not going. And many people who return to a job may not have that job for very long. Look, so much damage has been done to businesses throughout America, it's unrepairable. And companies that open back up are not going to open up to what they left, okay? They're opening up to a new economy, an economy with distancing and mask and massive debt. It's going to be a whole different economy. Look, it was bad before. This economy is going to be much worse. Look, you can't open casinos up, closing bars, buffets, restaurants, having everybody wearing a mask. It's not going to work. You can't open a restaurant up by removing half of the tables, by closing the bars, by having everybody wear a mask. People aren't going to do it. You want to put tables and chairs and have people eat in parking lots outside? Do it here when it's 115 degrees. Good luck with that. It's going to be a whole different economy, a whole different animal that we're going to be dealing with here, and people don't seem to realize it. Look, I don't want to see this economy fail. I certainly don't want to see America fail, but I'm a realist. And what has taken place over the last couple months with this economy, it was completely frozen. We're starting to see some things open up. That's great news. But they're not opening up fast enough, and they're not going to open up enough. They're opening up with regulations, rules, and unless you open everything up 100%, we are setting ourselves up for failure. And this is why it is imperative that each and every one of you is prepared for the end result here. The end result is going to be a economic collapse. It is going to be a massive depression. Here's another article today. Existing home sales continue collapse to 9-year lows. Median home price increased 7.4% from a year ago. Look, you can, if you think that's great news, that's fine. Prices can increase 80%. It doesn't matter. People now are going to have destroyed credit. Now, banks are going to have more restrictions of higher FICO scores, higher down payments, more normal things. People almost think it's crazy if you have to have good credit and 20% down to buy a house. But that should be normal. But we know for a fact that millions of Americans right now aren't paying credit card debt. They're not making their car payments. They're in forbearance with their homes. Look, their credit is going to be massively affected. And many people, as things open up, as things somewhat normalize, they're going to be tapped out on the credit cards. They're going to be missing payments on a credit card or 2 credit cards or a car payment, or they're not going to get caught up in the forbearance with their home mortgage. And then what happens? What if a husband goes back to work, but the wife, her job, her company closes down? Now it's a single income. Big trouble, because something's not going to get paid. People's credit's going to get smashed. And so if you believe that the home market is going to come back to normal, again, it was all propped up with low rates. They're continuing to smash rates to get people suckered into the housing market. They may lower standards or lending restrictions again just to do people into the housing market. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But what I do know right now is, how are you going to buy a house when you don't have a job? How do you buy a house if your husband or wife lost their job and now it's a single income? How do you buy a house when 50% of this country doesn't have $400 in savings? 50% of this country makes less than $32,000 a year. How is that going to support a healthy housing market? Look at how things got smashed for the month of April. The West Coast here, down 25%. This is existing home sales. South, 17.9%. Midwest, 12%. Northeast, down 17%. Look at the reality of what's going on. So people believe the housing market's going to come roaring back when millions of people aren't going to have a job to return to, when millions of people, when they do return to work, they're going to get a pay cut. Their wages are going to get cut. Life is going to be much different. And through this whole thing, people are continuing to acquire massive amounts of debt, getting farther behind the 8 ball. Look, it doesn't take an Einstein to figure out that we are going to head into some real big problems here, and we're heading into them right now. And every day I drive around the desert, I see more for sales, more for lease signs. The writing is on the wall. It's already happening. Who's gonna take on all this vacant commercial real estate? Who's going to absorb these losses? When there's not a tenant in these buildings, when there's not a retailer in these buildings, somebody's taking a loss. When there's a for lease sign or a for sale sign, the meter is running. Somebody's not paying on that building. Somebody's holding the note. Some bank owns that building. Somebody is taking a loss when the lights aren't on. And there's a lot of buildings with no lights on. Not just here in Southern California, not just here in the Palm Springs area, all over, all across America. And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. So I'm going to be very interested to see how the recovery happens, how the massive bounce back occurs. Look, I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope everybody goes back to work. I hope that the job market is huge and robust, and that everybody's making money and goes back to work. But look, I'm reading, okay? I'm driving around looking with my own 2 eyes. I'm talking to people, listening to people and friends of mine with my ears of what's happening. Builders out here telling me that they're very concerned about things that are happening right now, that there are going to be severe consequences down the road. So look, I know people now who are not spending money. People with a decent amount of money, not buying exotic cars, not buying Rolex watches, not taking vacations. People just can't justify certain things now. Even though they can afford to do it right now, people with real money now are pulling back a little bit because of the uncertainty, the unknown, and they can't justify the the $200,000 car purchases, the $50 or $100,000 watch purchases, the extravagant vacations. People now are sitting back. People with money now are sitting back and waiting to see how this all plays out. And it's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out. Now, the people without money, the people taking the stimulus checks, going to Walmart, buying the big screen TVs, big screen TV sales are up. Some retail, a little bit of retail is up because people got a little bit of money, and the first thing they do is they go to Walmart and they burn the stimulus check. They go buy a big screen TV. They go buy a drone, whatever the heck they're doing. This is what the average American does, unfortunately, while the wealthy American who can afford to buy a $200,000 car right now, he's saying, no, I'm going to sit back and kind of see what happens here a little bit. I don't like what I see. That's why those people are wealthy. That's why they're millionaires, because they have patience, they have self-control. Where the average American who's totally broke, massive credit card debt, behind on a car payment, you know what he does? He's going out and buying a 60-inch flat screen. Unfortunately, that's the truth. That's sad, but that's the reality that we live in right now. So I'm going to wrap it up right here, but I want to go over one last article on the hedge. And this, again, is just reinforcing what I'm saying. It's reinforcing what many of you already know. Why California is in trouble. 340,000 public employees with $100,000 plus paychecks cost taxpayers $45 billion. This is why we are going to collapse, because of behavior like this. $54 billion budget deficit now here in California, and $1 trillion in pension liability. 340,390 government employees are bringing home six-figure salaries and pension checks. I have to ask people, especially here in California, how do you feel when you have over 340,000 government employees here in California bringing home over $100,000 a year in salaries and pension checks? Wow, millions of people here in the state of California are suffering without a job, dependent now on a stimulus check to get by. Now, millions knowing that they're not going to go back to work. Millions knowing that the companies they once worked for aren't bringing them back, closing, moving, shutting down completely, whatever the case may be. People now are going to have to take wage cuts when they come back, or they're going to find somebody else that'll do it cheaper. How do people feel tonight as they sit at home knowing that there's just people living off the dole for these government jobs? It's pathetic. Pathetic. People just milking the government for everything while the taxpayer pays for it. What everybody was working, they're taking all that money out of your paycheck. We have massive gas taxes out here in California. So people can sit, in their gated communities, living the life of luxury while people work, their knuckles off, and now not knowing if they're even going to have a job to return to. And you know what? Taxes are going to go up. Gas taxes will go up. State taxes will go up. Property taxes will go up all across America because of behavior like this. California, Illinois, you name it. It's happening all over America. And it's going to continue to happen. It's going to continue to spread like leprosy. Sad. And people just sit at home oblivious to what's happening. Look, your pensions are being robbed. Your Social Security is being robbed. Your futures are being robbed. The money you earn is being robbed. Everything in your life literally now is being robbed. But there's people out there that continue to tell me I'm wrong, that everything's fine. Don't be negative. Everything's fine. But when I see behavior and criminality like this taking place, and look, these pensions are out of control. What these police officers and firefighters get in retirement, the millions of dollars, multi-million-dollar pensions being paid out. Look, I'm happy that you chose that as a job. more power to you. But look, there's people that work very dangerous jobs, people that work very extreme jobs that don't get $100,000, $200,000 pensions, retire at 50 or 55 years old, live another 30 years. I mean, just think of the money that is going out. It is mathematically impossible, it is unsustainable to keep this pension system going. And it is going to implode. And many people they're going to get a wake-up call when they get those massive pension cuts or no pension at all. Those days are coming. Look, I don't know what's coming next, but we are living in a wild time. And this is going to be a very interesting summer, and I do believe we're going to see some fireworks coming this summer. Look, I've never pretended to be a prophet or a fortune teller. I don't have a crystal ball. But one thing I do know for a fact, one thing I can promise you is we're going to see more for sale signs, more for lease signs, more vacant buildings, and more unfunded pensions. Look, you can put all your faith in the system and paper, but if you're watching this video, more than likely, 98% of you know exactly where this all leads. The Ponzi schemes are going to come to an end. The pensions will implode. People are going to wake up and find out they've been bamboozled, they've been fooled, they've been duped. And they're going to be holding paper, whether that's stocks or the US dollar, and it's going to buy them nothing. This is the time, if you have the ability, if you have the means to protect yourself, you need to have some gold, you need to have silver. Yes, you have to have some cash put away. You better have preparations across the board, food, water, security, and everything in between. Because let me tell you, when this thing goes, it's going to go fast, and people are going to wake up to a totally different world, and it's not going to be a nice one.